Today we're going to talk about the preterite tense, a tense in Spanish that we haven't talked about yet. We're going to start with just the regular verbs for now. Here are the rules and a little overview of how to conjugate using this tense. Alright, let's talk about the preterite tense in Spanish. Now in Spanish, there are two tenses for the past. They're the preterite and the imperfect. They're both used in unique situations. So the preterite is to talk about completed actions in the past, is its principal use. So an example would be, in English, I completed, notice ed here, the essay. By saying completed, you're implying it's done, it's completed action. In Spanish, yo completé el ensayo. Again, the action is completed. That also means that if you're talking about a series of completed actions in the past, that would also require the preterite. So think sequence. I woke up, I got out of bed, I ate breakfast, later, I walked to school. All of those things are over and done with. We can tell that by how I'm speaking. Ate, woke, got out of bed, walked. So in Spanish, to convey that message that all of these things in the sequence are done, I would say, yo me desperté, me levanté, comí el desayuno, luego caminé a la escuela. You'll notice that the endings for these verbs are a little unusual compared to what you've seen before. Another use, to talk about completed actions in the past that have a set duration or set number of times that they occur. So something like, I studied for 2 hours, that's a set amount of time, that's a duration. Or in this case, I walked to the office 5 times. You know the action has been completed a certain number of times, therefore you would use the preterite tense in Spanish. Yo caminé a la oficina 5 veces, veces being times. So those are the uses of the preterite, the central uses. These are some keywords, palabras útiles, helpful words, that let us know when the preterite would be appropriate. Think of them like trigger words. They're triggering you to have to use this tense. Anoche, ayer, la semana pasada, el mes pasado, el año pasado. These are all helpful, this whole list on the left here, because they imply a completed action, a set time frame. That needs the preterite. So then we have things like last night, that's completed. Yesterday, that's completed. Last week, completed, and so forth. So these all cue you to need to use the preterite tense in Spanish. Now, conjugations. Like all verbs in all tenses, we need conjugations in Spanish. These are for regular verbs, which means they follow a pattern. Remember, verbs have stem changes in the present tense that are AR or ER verbs, do not have a stem change in the preterite. So that means new tense, new rules. We have new things to keep in mind. So no stem changes for AR or ER verbs in the preterite whatsoever. So let's take a look at these conjugations. For AR verbs, we have a new set of endings we need. A, aste, o, amos, astes, aron. This is just like conjugating when you use the present tense. You start with an infinitive, like hablar. You remove the ending, AR in this case. You add what's left, the stem, to all these new endings. And that gives you a new meaning. It allows you to speak in the past for completed actions. So hablaron. So we would have hablé, I spoke. Here are all our new endings in blue. Now for ER and IR, they have the same. Iste, yo, watch the accent there. Imos, istes, ieron. Now these are handy because they have two types of infinitives that they work for. Bebí, bebiste, bebió, bebimos, bebisteis, and bebieron. For an ER verb, from beber, to drink. So I drank. Or escribir, to write. Escribí, escribiste, escribió, escribimos. So we wrote. Escribisteis, escribieron. They wrote. Those new endings give us that new meaning. It's important to memorize these endings, especially their spelling, because the accent mark makes a big difference here. If you leave the accent mark off the O, for instance, people are going to think you're using the yo form of the present tense. We want them to know we're using the preterite in the past, so we need that accent mark. It's super duper important. I would keep track of these endings somewhere, so that way you can memorize them and use them to practice with your new completed actions tense. The preterite to say what has been done, what's been completed. So something like I studied. It's done, it's over. Buena suerte, good luck con el pretérito, the preterite. Make sure you take some time to practice these regular verb conjugations, and then take a look at some irregular verbs, some commonly used verbos irregulares, to practice with the preterite some more. Gracias, adiós.